Hello and welcome. Now, it has been quite a long time since I have shared a video. I think it was January 2023 when I created my last one, and yeah, that means it's been at least a year and a half. And for whatever reason, the last few days I've really had an urge to create another video, and so here we are. I don't really know if that means more videos are to come and what's really going to happen, but I guess my motivation as well for creating this video is I was looking at some of the comments on my videos over the last couple of months, and quite a few people were asking, like, where did you go? What happened? And I thought, well, yeah, I don't know if there'll be more videos, but I can at least say where I am and what's been happening and just have a little check-in. I will share a bit about like where I've gone with the no buy, low buy situation, and yeah, just a bit about my personal life. So yeah, this is for those lovely people who left those comments, and I really do appreciate this community and this channel. Even though I haven't been able to show up in this space, I feel like over the last few years since moving to Switzerland, things haven't been so easy for me on like an inner personal emotional level. There has been some really amazing things that have happened, and I'm so grateful to be here and so lucky to be in a country that is very expensive and quite affluent. So I do see a lot of positive things, but that doesn't mean that yeah, I'm always happy or that it's always easy to get out of bed and get on with things. And, you know, the idea of creating more YouTube videos to me feels like, oh, I've got to be perfect and I've got to share this particular way of how I'm trying to do things and be motivating and inspiring people. And I just haven't felt motivated over the last year. There's been moments of it, of course, but I've just been trying to get by and do what I can. And as I get older, I've just realized that life isn't a Hollywood ending. No one's coming to save you. You just have to keep trying and just keep doing what you can. And in that, there will be moments of happiness, especially if you're trying to make other people happy. And there'll also be moments that really just suck and are painful and are hard. And that's just all a part of the process. And yeah, I'm someone who has spent a lot of time online in my 20s, and I really have come to this point of realizing I have a pretty solid online addiction. It's something I do all the time to kind of pacify myself when I'm alone or eating. And one of the symptoms or the problems of spending a lot of time online is that, yeah, you start to believe life is going to be different than it is. The idea of if you have this thing or you purchase that, or you look at all these different lifestyles, these people traveling the world, you know, it gives you an illusion of that it's just simple, it's easy, it's like everything flows, but sometimes everything doesn't flow. Sometimes it's just really hard. Sometimes you don't want to get out of bed. And I find myself, I go into these sort of spirals of like online social media consumption because I just can't face the way I feel, or I just feel anxious and I don't want to feel the anxiety, so I watch lots of YouTube shorts or things like that. And I've managed to stop myself from getting TikTok because I know if I had that, I would just be on there for hours. The algorithm is so actively working to do that as well for people. So anyway, that's enough of that rant. Let's just talk about where I'm at. And yeah, what's been happening. So I'm still living in Switzerland. I've now been here 2 years. I'm coming into my third year, or about to start the third year in September, yeah, in this month. And yeah, I came here first to do a foundation studies that was in English. And it was a foundation in a particular philosophical way of looking at the world called anthroposophy. And I did that for a year, and during that time I wasn't so satisfied. I really did have a moment of kind of going into a darkness in, I would say, was it December 2022? I kind of plummeted and was really struggling, and I wasn't happy with my course, and I was having a like, what am I meant to do with my life crisis, which I've had a lot of those at different times in my 20s. And I was living with this older man who said, well, why don't you go and look at the different art schools that are in the area and what are the different artistic things you could maybe do? Because, yeah, like doing art can always make me happy, or being creative, I guess, can always bring some joy. And so then I discovered this school that does like a movement, an artistic movement style called Eurythmy that is also connected to the philosophy I was studying. And I was going to start it straight away in January 2023, but I decided to wait because I didn't quite feel ready. Also, the course was going to all be in German, and so I wanted a little bit of time to prepare myself. And yeah, so then I did wait, and I also wanted to wait for a different group, although I liked the group that was there that I would have joined. They were already working for, quite some months in a process, and I just didn't feel like that was my group or that I wanted to sort of jump in the middle. So I then started the study in September of 2023. I've now completed 1 year of this course. Everything is in German, which is really hard, but at the same time, I feel really grateful to be learning another language, although I do really struggle. I'm not someone who does well at studying, and so I've mostly just been learning through hearing every day at school. And I don't feel so confident to speak, which is kind of, I just need to get over that, because if I spoke more, I would also have a better grip of the language. But I do understand a good enough to get by. And I hope in the next few years it will improve. And I hope to be able to find some forces or energy in me to focus on improving it as well through actual study. I've tried some online classes here and there, and I've ended up in this subscription service with a particular online course, and I've just found it really hard, and I feel like they've taken a lot of my money, and it's my fault because I just have ended up in a bad cycle with it. So I want to quit that, but unfortunately I have so many credits that I have to use them first, but each month to use the credits you have to buy more credits, and it's just like this never-ending cycle where basically 80 to 100 euros gets taken from my account each month, and that really frustrates me because at the moment I don't make so much money. So in February of this year, I was able to get a job. I did some other jobs of babysitting and a few things here and there, but then I got a more proper job with a contract. I can only work 15 hours a week in Switzerland as a student, and because my German is not so good, I am working in an office as a cleaner. So I just work in the evenings and I clean some financial offices. Or sometimes I can clean really early in the morning, but I don't usually like to do that before I have to be in school. I like to be in school early enough to warm up before classes start. So I'm usually cleaning in the evenings every night for about 2 hours. And that kind of gives me just enough to pay rent and groceries and my health insurance and my phone bill. But it's tight, and so it's really frustrating when then I've got subscription services that I can't cancel because I need to use the thing. Anyway, that's a story for another day. We don't need to get into that now. So that is kind of where I'm at. So I've been in this course. I finished the foundation studies. That was really good to actually finish that. And then I started this course in Eurythmy movement. Yeah, and I'm going to keep doing that for the foreseeable future. It's a 4-year-long course. It's long days and a lot of work, which is why I also really haven't had much time for filming. And I'm also trying to learn another language whilst doing it. But it all is way more practical based. It's more about doing than it is about reading or writing or textbook style learning. And that's kind of what suits me and what I'm actually able to do, because I do not function the other way around so well. So I do really enjoy that, and I do enjoy this movement, but it is still hard to motivate myself, although I have managed to not miss a single class except for a last minute trip where I did go to the States for 10 days because a dear friend passed away. Other than that, I've been able to stay consistent with class, and that's basically my biggest goal. Brush my teeth, wash my face, try and get enough sleep, go to class. Whether or not you understand anything that's happening, whether or not you enjoy it, just show up and just keep trying to show up, because I know the moment I don't, I will just kind of fall, and that's really hard. So if I just have a very simple, what I feel like I definitely can achieve goal, and I just strive for that each day, that's what feels the healthiest, and that's where I feel like I can manage. So that's kind of the practical things. I also moved house. As you can see, I'm in a different room. I moved in the beginning of 2024. I now live in student accommodation, whereas before I was living with a family friend and this older gentleman who was in his 70s. He was really lovely, but I did feel, when you live in someone else's house, it's really their space, and I felt like I just wanted to be able to come home and really just relax and have my own little room. It's tiny. I have a little cooking top here. I have a little sink here. It's very small. It's very compact, but it's my space, and I can just come and cook something quietly in my room, and I don't have to interact with other people or really be conscious of other people's needs. I just can focus on my own. And there is a shared kitchen downstairs that I could also use, but I'm usually pretty done with people at the end of the day from school because, yeah, I'm with people. We move as a whole group together every day. There's 10 people in my class at the moment. We come from 9 different countries and speak 9 different languages. So, yeah, I love the people that I work with and move with, but I am also someone who really recharges alone in my space with my own thoughts. So that's where I'm at. And let's just quickly check in with the no-buy situation. If you may have guessed already, I've kind of broken it. As you can see, there's a whole bookshelf behind me, which I did not have before. And I didn't kind of break it. I just gave up, I think, at some point in 2023. And I've tried to keep tracking my spendings a bit, but I haven't been so good. And then I have had a few trips away where it's been really hard to keep a track of things. We also have traveled as a school because we go and perform in different places. So we performed in Italy and we also performed in Germany. So that was just more traveling and way more expenses than I could handle. And I'm very grateful, I have this job and it does kind of just cover me, but everything else I have my savings for, which I'm so glad I did a no-buy when I was younger, when I was making good money, because it just means I've had freedoms. I've been able to do the things I would like to do, and I don't have to be so stressed about money. Although it does stress me, it is one of my things that I struggle with, but I know that I have a fallback, and I've been able to pay for my school fees with the savings I had because I couldn't make enough to cover my living expenses and school fees in Switzerland. I've also been extremely lucky. I went to Australia this summer, and my mum did pay for my flights to go back. It was my first time back in nearly 4 years. So she also is someone who's very generous with me, and has, supported me in different ways as well. So if it wasn't for those things, I just wouldn't be making it right now, because everything is so expensive here, and I can't get paid so well because I don't have the language, and I don't have a higher paying job at the moment, but we see what comes in the future. And I also have a limitation on hours. But yes, I kind of dropped my no-buy philosophy, and it's kind of interesting for me. I feel like there's a few different areas where I really have a bit of an addiction, or I have a bit of a struggle. And if I don't keep a conscious eye on it and actually kind of track it, it just creeps up and it just sort of gets out of hand. And I especially have felt the last couple of months that got pretty bad when it came to purchasing, especially when I went back to Australia, because everything to me seemed so cheap in comparison to how much it costs where I currently live. So I bought some workout leggings, I bought some new running shoes, I bought some fancy boots to replace the other ones that I'd had for the last 4 years and worn them apart. And so I was just buying a lot more stuff because I felt like, oh my god, I'm saving so much money compared to if I had to buy this in Switzerland. And I also, a lot of these books I did actually get for free. There was someone who passed away and they had all these books in English and they offered them to the study program where I was. So quite a few of them I got that way. And then I did also buy a lot of them, especially the ones in German for my studies. All the pink books down there are for school. So yeah. And I also bought a lot of things as well for school. So that's what happens for me, because I get a kick out of purchasing stuff a bit. When I have to buy things I do need and then I don't keep an eye on it through something like a no buy or tracking, then it kind of starts to open up this snowball effect, and then more and more things come in and I don't really pay attention to what I'm buying. And then moving here, I had to buy like some kitchen things because I had nothing. So yeah, it's safe to say that I'm not on track with my no buy, but I do really want to start that off again in the next coming months. And I am going to get really strict on myself with my budgeting, because my savings is not going to be there forever and I'm not making money at all that means that I can save. So I have to really just reduce everything and be very conscious with what I'm spending and what I'm purchasing. And yeah, another area where I also really struggle is the screen time that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. That's another thing that I want to be keeping an eye on. And I think, yeah, these things where I struggle: sugar, screen time, purchasing things, although that actually has in general gotten a lot better since doing the no buys. I have reduced what would have happened if I hadn't been doing a no buy. So even when I did start buying stuff the last year and a half, it was less than what it probably would have been if I hadn't worked so hard over the last 4 years to kind of teach myself to be a bit more conscious. Things got looser, but they didn't go completely out of whack, which is what could have happened. And the other area that I want to keep a bit more of an eye on is sugar, because it's another thing that I, go towards. And I think it's all these things that I would say are like pacifications. Another thing is biting my nails when I get, it's just kind of an unconscious thing, but it's all these sort of not stimming, that's not the right word, all these kind of soothing things to do for yourself. I don't know if biting my nails is soothing. I think it is in a way, because it's a distracting thing, but all these things that soothe myself or from whatever things I'm trying not to feel. Yeah, I have to really be conscious with them and keep an eye on them, because otherwise they tend to kind of spiral a little bit out of control. So anyway, that's kind of where I'm at, how things have been going. And yeah, I hope you find this video in some way interesting, and at least you have some kind of an idea. I'm still in Switzerland. I'll probably still be here for another 3 years if everything goes on track and I can keep affording to be here and my German comes along better, because that does need to improve. And yeah, I have moments where things are really good and I have moments where things are not so good, and I just try and get through that process one day at a time. And I don't know if things get easier, but it's sort of, maybe I just get used to how to keep on with life or how to keep functioning. And I am also getting used to, like, well, when there are moments where I fall apart, I know kind of how to pick myself up and how to not beat myself up about it a bit, although that's still definitely something that I can improve and work more towards. So yeah, that's where I'm at, that's how I'm doing. And yeah, let me know how you are and what's been happening if you wish to in the comments. And maybe more videos come, maybe they don't, or maybe just one every now and again like this, we'll see. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, and yeah, I hope you're doing as well as you can be, and I will see you next time. Bye!